Hello, everyone. Welcome to the third and final part of this episode where we talk about the Ubisoft Forward event.
Ubisoft time.
Yeah, let's talk about Ubisoft.
Sorry, I'm trying to keep us like I just finished
Please, it was the
editing
one
the
I was
first
most curious to
one,
hear
and
about,
it
and then
was
we
and
did
it
talk
was
about
an
it. So
hour and
I can go
50,
through it. I can go
so
through
I'm
it
trying to
quick.
keep us on time.
We can run through it pretty quick because
No, we
personally,
can't. There's actually a lot to talk about.
no, there is. But the biggest thing is the Assassin's Creed
I
future
actually
news that they've talked about.
Yes, and because of that, let's save that for last, which is what
Okay.
made it actually. So like, let's basically just like, I did watch this, and so I believe they started out with Mario and Rabbids, the new one, and
Mhm.
honestly, like, it looks so good. Like, it really does. It just looks so good. Which, for those that don't know, Mario and Rabbids Kingdom is basically like, actually, sorry, the new one is called Mario and Rabbids Spark of Hope. It
Mhm.
is a sequel
Mhm.
to Mario and Rabbids Kingdom, I believe it's called,
Mhm.
which is basically just like an XCOM tactical strategy game, but with Mario and Rabbids characters, and it's just cute and it's fun, and more importantly, like, it's actually a really good game. At least the first one is, and the second one is looking to shape up to be just as good of a game. Like, mainly because you have like all the fun strategy aspects of XCOM and stuff like that. But then they added in like some nice like movement aspects to that, like to add a little bit of depth. And they're doing the same thing with this one, right? Like, it looked like, from what I could tell from the trailer, movement is literally just you have a max space that you can move, but it's like the classic like 3D platformer, like free moving in that space, which is kind of interesting as
Oh,
opposed to like
that's
moving to a
interesting.
block. Yeah, no, it
Ooh.
looks really cool. Like, it looks really good. I'm like, honestly, like, it has no right to look as good as it does. Like, and I shouldn't say that. I feel like that's like in some way kind of a dig at them, right? But no, it looks really. I mean, I really enjoyed the first one, mainly because like it was an excellent game to play. Which, for those who don't know, because it's Mario, obviously it's only on the Switch. And so I played the first one on my Switch. Like, it was a great airplane game, right? Because it's an offline game, you don't need internet
Mhm.
or anything for
Mhm.
that. And so like this one looks so good. Like, this one will probably be another great, like, yeah, like airplane game or something like that. So I don't, this thing I'm looking at isn't quite in order. So I'll go ahead and mention some things that I don't particularly care about, but I'll just knock them out. And if you guys want to talk about them, we can talk about them. They apparently showed some Trackmania stuff. They
Mhm. Coming to
showed
consoles
some,
finally.
yeah, they showed Riders Republic stuff related to Trackmania, obviously. Um, and then they showed Just Dance 2023, because they gotta shit one of those bad boys out every single year. You're just like, which, does anyone know, like, do you use your phone? I think you literally just use your phone at this point. Like, it's literally only tracking one point, and that's all it's tracking, I'm pretty sure. Um,
I
Awesome.
could talk to some of my employees at my job, who a couple of them are huge Just Dance fans because they're teenagers, and I
hey,
could get back to you, get some
I
firsthand
actually I did
experience.
play it's not Just Dance. I think it was Harmonix actually made a similar game for Quest 2, and I actually owned that, and I played that, and like, that one was okay because like you have 2 points of tracking instead of whatever, and you're in the VR, and so I don't know. So yeah, they're shitting out another Just Dance, obviously. And then, I mentioned Riders Republic. So getting into stuff that I do find interesting. Um, they showed the trailer for Mythic Quest Season 3, which is not directly game related, but I really enjoy Mythic Quest Season 1 and 2. Um, Packy's got a
Why
face.
why was that a
Mythic
part of
Quest
their
just
Ubisoft thing?
they Ubisoft is they do all of the game stuff for the show. Like, anytime they're showing like bits of a game, like bits of the game in Mythic Quest, like, Ubisoft made that for them,
That's cool.
It's interesting. I
right?
did not know that.
Yeah, so that they have that partnership, and that's why they showed it here. And I love Mythic Quest. I don't know if you guys have watched it, but like,
No, but I've heard
I
great
only
things.
know about it because of Rob McElhenney being on the Always Sunny podcast that he's doing with the other two main leads of that show, and he
I
talks about it a
literally, yeah,
lot.
I was gonna
I was gonna,
say, no,
I did not know the
Mr.
show
Quest.
existed before
No, it's
their
Mr. Quest.
Mr. Quest. Yeah, I did not know that show existed before their podcast.
It's very good. I would strongly like. Well, okay, I think it's very good. Susie's like lukewarm on it. I think it's just not targeted for Susie, and it's more targeted for people like us. And so I would strongly
Yeah,
I'll
they're
give it a
recommend.
MMO
shot.
developers, right?
What'd you say, Peggy?
They're MMO developers, right?
Yeah, that's the premise of they're making.
Yeah, you're a software engineer who played a lot of WoW. It seems like a show that you would like.
It's right up your alley.
Yeah, exactly, right? With like Rob McElhenney and
Yeah, a guy from a show you really like.
Yeah.
Yeah, two
Made for
guys
you.
from a show I really like, and Abed. So like,
Oh man, it's
Oh,
got
damn, Abed in that show. You cannot at all approach that
the
game
show
from a fair
was made
perspective.
for me.
It really
literally
was.
made. Love it. So I was super excited to see the trailer for season 3. It looks great.
Nice.
Yeah, no, if you guys haven't watched it, I would definitely recommend watching it. So actual game related stuff, which I find very interesting. They showed a lot of the Division. They showed 3 Division games. They talked about the what's coming to the Division 2, which
New
every
season.
time they do, I'm like, man, I should go play that.
You should. It's really good.
Also,
I love the Division.
yeah. Well, no, so I've played the Division 2. I think I just beat the initial campaign and I haven't played it since, right? Because like I feel like the Division 2 is I want someone to play with and it's hard to get someone.
Hey, I'll play with you any day of the week.
You know, so,
I just got to re-download it.
But also they said they were committed to making, I think, at least a year 5, right? So they committed to all next year of updates for the Division 2 as well. So that was cool. I wonder if that's going to be the end of it. And the reason why I wonder if that's going to be the end of it is because like I said, they talked about 3 games. So the other one was the Division Heartland, which is made by a separate studio, I believe. No, it's definitely made by a separate studio.
Yeah, it's still based on like the massive studio's property, obviously.
Yes,
but I don't think it's massive themselves.
Yeah, I think they helped Massive make one of the other ones, is what it was, right? Like
maybe they worked. I don't know for sure. They might have worked on the big expansion for Division 2, the Warlords of New York. They might have worked on that as like a preliminary thing, which that was a good expansion. I don't know for sure. I'm just talking out my ass, but that would make sense.
So the Division Heartland is a free-to-play game in the Division universe, and it looked very Division-y, right? And so I thought that looked pretty fun. And like, I was mentioning like, oh, I want to play Division 2, but it's hard to get someone to play with me. Like maybe the free-to-play aspect will make it easier to get someone to play with me. So like, I thought that looked interesting. And I suspect I wouldn't be surprised if Heartland does well enough. I wouldn't be surprised if the Division 2 doesn't get a year 6 or whatever. That's just kind of my gut feeling, but who knows? And then the third one was, we had talked about this. I just finished editing the episode. Is the Division Resurgence, which is a mobile spinoff. And we were talking, like I said, I was finished editing that episode. It looked pretty good because like hardware is not really the problem these days, right? Like it looked pretty solid for something running on a phone, right? And it's because modern phones are like more powerful than the Switch, right? Like, I mean,
crazy.
So honestly, that looked pretty interesting. Apparently that's not actually new. I think they'd already like done some testing, and they announced like they're doing more testing with like the Dark Zone in the mobile game. So 3 games from the Division universe were shown, which I thought was very cool because I really like 1 and 2. Also mobile related was Rainbow Six Mobile, which again looked pretty interesting, pretty solid if that's what you want. And like, I feel like that would maybe be a game that would fit well into the like, I want to sit down for 5 minutes for a quick match or something. Yeah. Right. Like, so it'll be interesting to see how that evolves going forward. And the last thing I recall before we get to Assassin's Creed is Skull and Bones was shown, and I don't really care.
They've botched the Ubisoft fanboy dream game of just having Black Flag, but like its own thing instead of being an Assassin's Creed game. Like, I don't understand why Ubisoft. I mean, I guess I get it, because just like Nintendo, Pack, you were saying they have these really highs and really lows. Ubisoft is absolutely that also. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, I guess it's just because they're a really big, like, developer and publisher for all their stuff. But man, they go up and down so bad.
Okay, so you agree that Skull and Bones looks
It looks very passable, but not at all what
Yep.
fans of Ubisoft and obviously fans of pirate games have been hoping for when did Black Flag come out? Like, I don't even know. Since
time.
that game came out.
11.
It was 4. Yeah, it was Assassin's Creed 4. So that tells you
Yeah, no,
how long
it
ago.
looks- I'm not excited at all for
I mean, if
I mean,
it's
the
on Game
crazy
Pass,
thing
I'll
was
play
it
it.
used to be the initial direction they said, I remember, had people more excited of it being closer to like, yeah, Black Flag,
Because
but
it wasn't
multiplayer.
just a ship game. It is now just a ship game.
There it
Instead
is.
of you being a person that also walks around, you just play as the ship.
Yeah, they also really missed the boat on making
Literally.
a big pirate game.
Yeah.
Like a bunch of people have tried it since then. It's no longer a new or
No.
it's not a concept people are really excited about anymore like they
No.
used to be. And so
Well,
I
and
mean, like
don't
Sea
think
of Thieves is still pretty good
necessarily-
too.
exactly.
Sea of Thieves is great. Sea of
Yeah,
Thieves isn't
it's come a
just
long
pretty
way.
good. It's better than it's ever been. Like,
Oh yeah, for
flat out.
sure. I don't play it a ton, but
Um,
like it's
That being said,
good.
I'm not even sure that they're direct competitors. I mean, they're very like
It's
there's a
definitely very
big
different.
overlap, right? But
Yeah.
it's not
pirate
a
games.
full complete overlap, but it is a big overlap. Anyways, yeah. So I'm kind of amused that you kind of feel the same way as me in that like it looks very passable. Yeah, I like that
Yeah.
word. It looks passable.
Which
So,
is fine.
James, I will let you take it away on Assassin's Creed. You were very eager to talk about this. Take it
So
away.
I just give my credentials. I love Assassin's Creed. I've played the vast majority of them since the original came out. I bought it, I think, at launch, played it on my PS3, and I've played, like I said, I think all of them for the most part since then. I missed Unity, I missed Rogue, I've missed a couple, but not a lot. And I've played almost all of them to completion for the most part, or at least like double-digit hours on all of them, right? So for anybody that doesn't know, the big controversy that a lot of Assassin's Creed stuff has recently in like the last, I don't know, 5 to 10 years is they went from their original gameplay design of being like single player, no RPG mechanics. So it was just like story focused, but in an open world, you would do missions to gather intel on targets, and then you would do some big mission that would culminate in the assassination of some vaguely historical figure.
That pseudo stealth aspect. Of
Exactly. And like
Right.
stealth was way more important. Parkour was like obviously the huge selling point, especially for the first one when it originally came out. I mean, Assassin's Creed 1 was like how I found out about parkour as a child. So, and then Ubisoft got a good amount of backlash because they were just kind of like wheels were just spinning, but nothing was really coming out that was like innovative. They were just kind of stuck in their own formula for a while. And then they came out with Origins, which Origins was an Assassin's Creed game set in part of ancient Europe, or not Europe, Egypt. It was an RPG.
Egypt.
And it was an RPG in that you got gear, like you had different armor pieces, weapons, you had skill points. It kind of became what the modern joke of Ubisoft is, where every game is becoming an RPG with like lookout towers and stuff. I mean, the Far Cry games are that, Ghost Recon is that now, and obviously Assassin's Creed is that now. But Origins, for a lot of people like me, was very well received because it was very well made despite being an RPG, had really good characters, had a really cool setting, especially as a kid, loved ancient Egypt stuff. And it was not so bloated. Like, it was definitely an open world RPG, but it was not so dense that you were just grinding and like wasting so much time. And then we got Odyssey, which was ancient Greece, definitely more bloated, but still pretty good. I didn't mesh as well with it. I played a lot of it, but didn't finish it. And then we got Valhalla, which I really enjoyed, but again, is the most bloated game like ever. It's very good for the parts that it does have, but most of it's just like bullshit. But to get to the actual news, they revealed what they're calling Assassin's Creed Infinity, which is going to be a new platform hub that Ubisoft is going to try for basically, it seems like all future Assassin's Creed content.
Which no one knows what that means, but it's
so what it seems like it might be is it's basically going to be like what a long time ago people thought because like they Ubisoft leaned very heavily into the Animus, which in the Assassin's Creed universe is like a device you get into that takes you to this other digital reality based on like genetic memories, right? And that's what all the Assassin's Creed games are about. But basically, the idea originally was that you would get into the Animus and then you would have access to like other, historical settings. So it seems like Assassin's Creed Infinity is going to basically be that. It's going to be a hub that you'll like play and then you'll have access to all of their properties if you, like I said, probably if you own them. If you don't own them, you might not be able to. I don't know exactly how that'll the like purchasing system will work. But the big news out of that is that they are splitting, and they're going to go back to doing both kinds of Assassin's Creed games. We're going to have the single player story focused ones that focus on stealth and parkour, and probably going to be shorter and like, you know, the way that games used to be in the PS3 era, especially, where they're
I think
like,
that's going to be Codename Red, right? You think
no,
Codename
that's
Red is
Mirage. That's Mirage.
Oh,
Mirage is the
interesting. So
story focused one. It takes place 20 years before Valhalla and involves the assassin character that trains Ivor in Valhalla in Baghdad, and it looks really cool.
Basim, I think
Red,
is his name.
Basim, yeah, Basim, who I really liked as a character in Valhalla for the brief time you got to see him, at least as far as I got. But yeah, that's going to be the return to the traditional Assassin's Creed from a billion years ago. And then Red is going to be the continuation of the RPG heavy mechanics ones. And it finally, after a billion years, takes place in feudal Japan, and you play the Shinobi, which fans for
And
Assassin's
see,
Creed.
that's kind of why I thought that would be the return to the like.
No, I know, right?
Right.
But yeah, so we're going to be getting two Assassin's Creed games. I don't know if yearly or however they're going to do it, but they're going to try to cater to everybody, which I think is super interesting. And both settings sound super interesting. And then they also announced something called Hex, Hexe, which is a German or a Germanic word relating to like witchcraft. And they have not said what that game's going to be, but is a third prong in their like infinity lineup they have. And I think it'll be really cool.
They got a
16th
fourth.
century witchcraft Europe basically is what they're going for. So that sounds really cool. And then they showed off a fourth one called Codename Jade as of right now, which is a open world Assassin's Creed game for mobile devices set in 215 BCE China. And I have no idea how that's going to work on phones personally. So it looks cool, but like I don't know how it's going to work. They said it'll feature classic Assassin's Creed gameplay, which I mean, again, I don't know how that's going to work on phones.
Classic to phones.
Clearly, like we talked about, mobile is where the fucking money's at. Apparently.
I mean, yeah, of course. And it sounds like a cool setting, but
is that mobile one? Is that the same mobile one that is also exclusive to Netflix games, or did they announce 5 Assassin's Creed games?
They might have announced 5 because I don't see anything on the Jade
5.
article about the Netflix possible tie-in. And technically also announced more follow-up stuff for Valhalla too. They literally, like, the whole show was basically Assassin's Creed, and then Division, and then everything else.
They literally called it that, right? So like the entire thing was called like Ubisoft Forward, but then they get to the end and it's like, I think it was like almost an hour. Like it was at least 30 minutes, maybe 45, maybe an hour. And yeah, they called it the Assassin's Creed Showcase, I think.
I mean,
and yeah, it's just like
the bulk of it.
This is their IP apparently, right? Like, but yeah, no, the Netflix games thing is hilarious. They also are.
And they're doing it with a show.
Yeah, there's gonna be a live action Assassin's Creed show, which is why.
I mean, that'll be interesting. Hey, I mean, they did The Witcher well.
I am not a fan of The Witcher personally, but
I really liked the first season. I liked it less and less the further we got into the second one.
I've heard the second's not as good. My girlfriend is not happy with the second season, and she loves the first season.
Yeah,
so
people were happy with the second season. Unfortunately, the magic kind of got lost a little bit. Henry Cavill's still good.
I mean, yeah, no, I love. That's the only part of the show that I like. Is I think he's great as Geralt, but yeah.
Yeah, so they have the show. They have the Assassin's Creed exclusive Netflix exclusive game, and then they actually had a sequel to Valiant Hearts coming to Netflix games.
I heard about that too. Yep.
Which the first one's pretty all right, like for what it is. And then
is Valiant Hearts. This is gonna be me being stupid, but is that the World War I like 2D?
The guy with the dog. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I played a little bit of that. Yeah. It was fine. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I was gonna say. I mean, my memory is like also kind of foggy, right? But like, you know. And then they say the third Netflix exclusive game is a roguelite inspired mighty quest for epic loot. I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, I just the whole like we're making 3 games that are exclusive to Netflix is like kind of
I
to me.
I wonder if that third one. Did you guys ever watch? Shit, I can't remember what it's called, but I remember it's called Bandersnatch, the Choose Your Own Adventure Netflix show that they did.
That was interesting. Yeah,
It was really
cool.
good. I thought it was really good and really interesting. So I wonder if they'll do something similar
That
with
was
that roguelike one.
that was the Black Mirror universe.
Black Mirror, yeah,
Which,
thank you.
yeah,
I knew it was
Black
Bandersnatch. I
Mirror
couldn't remember the actual
Bandersnatch,
like franchise. Yeah, it was really cool.
yeah. So honestly, like they had a lot of stuff. Like to be fair, that the Ubisoft thing was way too long. It was way too long. Much like this podcast is getting way too long.
Yeah.
Is there
I was
anything
gonna
else
say we're
that,
at time for me.
is there anything else that came up to either of you guys that you want to talk about?
There are other aspects of these things that I would talk about, but
I think we covered the bulk of it.
We definitely got through everything, which was good.
Yeah.
I'm glad we got through Ubisoft.
I just want to talk about Assassin's Creed because I love Assassin's Creed. So
yeah, I wish we had done that earlier.
It's okay.
They didn't show the gameplay for Mirage, but the
which is
the
interesting.
cinematic obviously looked fantastic, right? Like
yeah,
it looked fantastic. So.
I mean, everything was just like reveal cinematics basically for the most part. I don't think there was anything that was gameplay heavy of their showcase, other than maybe the Valhalla update that's coming.
Mario and Rabbids. Of Assassin's Creed. Sorry.
Assassin's Creed. My bad. Sorry.
I don't think they showed any gameplay for. So the Valhalla update. Valhalla update.
Yeah.
They showed just like one of the not pre-rendered like in-game cutscenes for it.
Yeah.
Right. So just like Ivor talking to someone.
It's supposed to just be a story final like loose end tie up basically.
So yeah, no. It was a week. There was a lot.
There was a lot. And we got a TGS starting tomorrow too. So
what is TGS?
And
Tokyo Game Show, dog.
I was gonna say, yeah, the Xbox has a thing.
I know.
There,
we'll have a lot to talk about next week.
Yeah, there's a lot. Actually, aren't they showing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 as well?
I don't know. They showed off the Gunsmith today, and it looks super cool. We can talk about that more next week since I know we're towards the end. But yeah, I watched the Gunsmith trailer for multiplayer.
The COD next event is September 15th, so it's literally
tomorrow. Yep. So next week.
Next week's going to be another busy week.
We can talk about shooters in general with obviously current news, just for like obviously Call of Duty.
We're talking about Call of Duty next week. You guys might want to find a third person. I have nothing meaningful to contribute in that space.
I can talk about it.
Ass at those games.
Go pew pew. Yeah, no, I mean we could get mad or someone.
I can talk about all my favorite Call of Duty games because there's like 3 of them.
Yeah, we have definitely covered everything or most everything this past week, and next week, obviously we'll have a lot to talk about too. And
will we?
Thank you guys for
coming.
Have a name next week? We might have a name. We might have a name.
No way.
I don't know.
Don't get excited for the name,
to
folks.
Say, I suck at.
Greg's still gonna agonize over this decision. Could have been made the first week. We did make it the first week. Now we're unmaking it.
No, we made it the second week.
Every successful podcast has had a significant identity change. Okay, it's proven.
We are name fluid. We're podcast fluid. Anyways,
make it interactive. Make it interactive.
Post an
untitled podcast, but just say at the end of one of the episodes, first person who listens to one of these episodes all the way through gets to name our podcast.
Hey, Jacob's brother, a good friend of ours, was listening to us on the way to the gym today, and he saw me, and he was like, "I saw you, and I was listening to the podcast," and he really likes it. So,
very cool.
I'm so happy.
Very nice of him to say.
I know, and he's a very good. I say kid. I mean, he's like in his 20s, but he's a good kid.
Oh, thank you, Jacob's brother, very good friend of James.
It's Zach.
Zach, thank you, Zach.
I love Zach
for listening. Thank you, anybody else who's made it this far. Catch us next week, and maybe we'll have a name. Bye.